everything you need to understand about the Lord. The Lord is massive in size, a finite size. What finite means, if you don't know, is that it's limited, it's constrained to a number. So God is a certain number in size. What that is, nobody knows, but big. Infinite, that's an incorrect teaching according to mechanicism. Infinite is not correct. She is limited in scope and scale. At the same time, we, our souls, are tiny little components in her great being, in his great being. So he is not what you would call all powerful. He is what you would call very powerful, unbelievably powerful, but not all powerful. There's some things he can't do. He cannot be anybody but himself. And he cannot do things on any times that are not who he is. He only does things as a machine on times that are appropriate. They're what they're supposed to be, and nobody can predict it. The archangels can't predict it. Human beings can't predict it. Nobody can. So the idea of trying to get around God and figure out what he's trying to do, what his goal is. I mean, what you would learn about this place is that the darkest thing to learn about this place is that it's a death trap. But when I say a death trap, don't get scared, because when you look at the whole world, everyone dies. No matter what, everyone owes a death. So the idea that it's a death trap is just one way of saying it. It's also a life trap where you get to live and you get to experience things, but it's nowhere near what the afterlife is. Now, the Lord is responsible for every death on the face of the earth, right? Every birth on the face of the earth at the same time. So the Lord knows the exact time and place where you're going to die, all the circumstances, all that. It's all part of the plan. Anything that teaches you that God has a plan and is going to do what God is going to do, that's the truth, right? That is the essence of how God is. Prayer. Does prayer work? No, not really. Not the way you think it works. Not in the short term. You can pray all you want, and somebody you love in this place will die, right? Does that mean that God doesn't care about you? No, not at all. No, it just means that in the scope of this place, things are going to happen that you don't want to happen. That's how it is, right? So in the grand scheme of things, this place, everyone dies, and prayers are not answered until down the road after death. Some prayers are answered, but most of them are not. Right? Most people do not get what they want out of this place. That's how it works. A lot of people feel a lot of different things when they're dying and leaving this place. But the key thing is that it's not fair to the mortal flesh. It's fair to the spirit, right? To your soul and what your soul needs. That's the key. That's what God is like. Fair to what your soul needs. God is comedy. God is sexuality. God is love. God is creation. God is destruction. God is anarchy with order around anarchy, and chaos with order around chaos, right? God is all these great, great things and terrible things at once, simultaneously moving across all the universes that exist and all the realms that people are finding themselves in. God is in complete control and is always there with you, right? It's hard to work with the Lord because you know that the Lord knows when you're going to die. So trying to be your friend, trying to be friends with the Lord is difficult, because when he talks to you, he always gives you that feeling. Sooner or later, he gives you that feeling like, yeah, I know when you're going to die, and I know you don't want it, but I'm going to do it anyway because I need it, right? And that's hard to deal with. That's a hard thing to swallow, right? But ultimately, you get reunited with family, friends, lovers. You get reunited. Things happen that put everything back into great perspective. So when you think God is not being fair, for some people it really is true in this place. It's not fairness, but with your soul, it totally makes sense, right? You are becoming something greater, something more powerful for the afterlife, something that down the road, when you enter paradise, it means everything, right? The other thing to understand is that God preserves identity as much as possible, but not always memory. So you're always you in all these different places. You're you. And some people would say, but I hate being me. And it's like, this is only this place. The real you is outside of this place, and you love the real you. You don't want to be anybody else for all time. And that's the beautiful thing about existence. You can try being somebody else, but you ultimately gravitate back towards your own avatar and who you are. And there is no infinite yous. There's only one you, only one. And you exist for all eternity. And that's what God maintains around you, is your eternal existence with no beginning and no end. Right? So it's a beautiful thing when you think about it. It's a very beautiful thing that God is always there with you, always looking out through your eyes and always looking back at you and always looking around you and seeing what's going to happen and knowing what it is. And if you listen and if you think in your heart, God is with me no matter what, it'll help you get through a lot, right? Even though, yeah, some of the bad things that happen are because God needed it to happen. At the same time, she was there with you when it happened. And you learn that and you see what she was really thinking and you go, okay, you are my God. Yeah, you're God. You're my God, but you're God, right? All the other controllers who are not black, they are not like that, right? They're fun to play with in paradise, but outside of paradise, it's really sketchy with them. If you're one of their units, it's fun to play with them and fun to work with them, but they're not God, right? Which is very important. They do not hold the keys to everything. So the question is if you're going to worship an archangel, why? Why would you do that? God is way more powerful, unbelievably more powerful. There's no sense in doing that, right? So what does God think of all of us? It's kind of like when you're playing with toys and you have two toys in your hand and you're controlling them and you're getting them to have a conversation with your mouth. You're going, hey, hello, how are you doing? That's kind of what God is doing on a massive scale with billions and billions and billions and billions of spirits. She's controlling them all and having them all have these conversations. So what she thinks of you is multifaceted. It's multi-layered. She thinks of you as a machine. She thinks of you as a component. She thinks of you as a human soul. She thinks of you as something that deserves love and deserves kindness and respect and honor, but also something that may need to see something that it doesn't want to see, right? What about a murderer? She just thinks you went and did that, so you have to do this now. And then it ends, and then the soul returns to love, and it's fine, right? Yes, the consequence to some of these things is dire, but at the same time, I'm not here to scare people. I'm here to spread the message that it's ultimately a really good thing. Everything that's happening, everything that will happen is ultimately a good thing. Not in this life. Lots of people you know are going to die from different diseases, from different causes, and then you'll die. So it's just, that's what it's always been here. That's how it always has been here. And this place, based on its design, is going to continue being that way. There is the talk of downloading your consciousness into computers. Well, that is only going to happen if God allows it to happen. And in the big picture, you don't really want that. You want to enter the afterlife. You don't want to stay here, right?